chug, 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 chug,
Welcome back to the Wizard Staff. I'm your host, Guy.
And I'm Blake.
And we are two drunk novices who like to talk about EDH. We drink and swear, so you've been warned. Please drink responsibly when you're talking about children's card games. We've hit a major milestone.
Yeah.
Episode 50, baby.
Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you very much for all the support that you have given us over the last year and a half. We really appreciate it. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for all 10 of you out there listening.
There's more. Even if you listen silently, thank you.
Yes. So, you're probably wondering, episode 50, big milestone. What do you guys have planned? This must be, super important. You've been saving this topic for a long time. No. Actually, Blake and I were just talking, and we were like, okay, we need a pre-game episode to hold us over for a bit.
So hungover.
And we are going to record the Staples episode soon. Why not just kind of talk about what I call a hodgepodge of stuff? So, we just got done with Theros, or we're still in the middle of Theros, and Theros will be a topic probably for the next month or so. I went to the pre-release, so I think I'm going to give some of my thoughts. Blake is going to talk about his cool new toolbox, and, if anything else comes up, we'll just... It's like improv right now, it's almost like I really wish we could just maybe ask the community right now, if you have a question, actually, you know what? Blake, you start talking about your toolbox. I'm going to send out a question on Twitter, and we'll see if we get any questions within the half hour that we're recording.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll be able to answer a question or two.
Okay. So as Guy is currently typing that up on Twitter, I have been playing for a number of years now, and like most of us, I kind of start small with really junky stuff because you don't really have the money to invest in super nice equipment, and but over the years you kind of scale up and up and up. So I have been using single deck boxes for each of my decks, and kind of those, I don't know how to describe them. They're the cardboard boxes that hold a bunch of cards, and I've just kind of been lugging all of those around. I went to Command Fest Seattle, and it was there that I'm wow, this is just so inconvenient carrying around all these individual deck boxes. For me personally, it's I always bring all my decks, so instead of I'm just so tired of carrying around these individual ones. The ones I want are always at the bottom. So I finally just went to Home Depot, and I got the 10 compartment deep Pro Small Parts Organizer Stanley. It's a toolbox kit. You probably know it from Tolarian Community College, who has done product reviews of it. It holds 12 double-sleeved EDH decks perfectly, and I have it, and I absolutely love it. It's just so much more convenient than lugging around 10 different deck boxes, and it's been great so far.
You said that you didn't have this for Command Fest Seattle, right?
I did not.
Okay, so now you'll just have this, I guess, for all the future. And how many slots do you have filled up, and do you have decks already planned for the other slots that you intend to fill up?
Yeah, so the newer models come out with I think it's 8 small slots and then 2 larger slots, but you can get older models with all 12 small slots. So I managed to find an older model. You asked if I'm gonna intend to fill up the rest of them. Yeah, so some of them are empty, and I do plan to fill those up over the coming years with decks and some cards. But I think for the average EDH player it's really helpful, because if you talk to more veteran people, they'll talk to you oh, I have the problem of I built 20 commander decks, and I've lost track of what's in them, and a majority of them will tell you the story of how they downsized, and now they're between 5 and 10 EDH decks, and that's a pretty common story I hear. So it's like I'm trying to like fit within that narrative too. Like I'm trying to just like go for like a few really good decks that are well tuned, like, and are across like the power level scale. And if I, kind of like self-pace myself, I'm gonna keep it contained to that container and never have cards that overflow that container.
Okay, and you'll be able to pretty much easily be... So, like, I'm sure with your expensive cards, you don't want to buy duplicates, so let's say you pull out Una, and you're like, oh, I need my Mana Crypt and my Vampiric Tutor from Phage.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go look through Phage, grab those out. You can easily just, like, pull out Phage from right there. So, that is also a huge benefit to having it, instead of, like, then having to dig through your backpack. Oh, where's my Phage deck box? And
it's a little bit faster. You would just like open it up, pull out 2 boxes, and then just kind of sift through one of them really fast. But even then, like, I'm probably gonna like make some proxies and just sit down at tables and be like, hey, there are proxies in this deck, but I own them. I just don't want to. That's like maybe another discussion, but like I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. I just want to start playing a game right away and have fun. But the point you bring up is true for those people who like do move cards between decks. It's easy. Just open it up, pull the 2 decks out, and it's easy.
I'm sure you have everything unified in a sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that for some of my decks where, like with Gitrog, Jace, and Skithrix, I want to be able to kind of move cards around more easily, and they all have different sleeves. So I need to just pick a sleeve. I think I'm going to go with the pink, hot magenta, pink
Juicy
Eclipse sleeves. Yeah. Juicy fruit. Yeah, because I don't think... And, I mean, maybe... I think all of my decks maybe could benefit from swapping stuff out, except Perforos. I think Perforos will be the one where the cards that are in that deck are specifically designed to be in that deck. Because I can't run Vampiric Tutor. Mana Crypt might be one card I would want to slot into Perforos just for like fast mana, but who knows?
Okay, I have a question. I have a few questions for you guys. So like,
oh gosh, yep.
Each EDH player has their own like needs and wants. Like, so like this thing fits my needs perfectly. Like, I think you might even have more decks than I do at this point. Like completed full 100 card decks. Like, am I selling, like, we've talked like off air, like a little bit about this product. Like, are you interested at all about getting this kind of thing?
Maybe. I mean, I'm looking at my decks right now. I have 7 100% completed decks.
Yeah, that's more than me.
1 for each color, Gitrog, and then I have Kadena. And then I have the Ur-Dragon, who could also probably benefit from what I was talking about, being able to slot in some cards, like some of my nicer lands. Like, pretty much just take the entire Gitrog land base and put that into Ur-Dragon would almost benefit it greatly. And then I have Bruna, who's just like a mess right now. One day I will fix her and make her better, but I don't know if it's a product I can see myself playing, just because when I go somewhere with my Magic cards, I only take 2 or 3 decks.
That is a good point.
And I only intend on playing those 2 or 3. Recently, it's definitely just been picking out the 2 of my favorites, and then because I've kind of gone through like cycles of, oh, I really like Galta, and I just played Galta nonstop for a while. Oh, okay, now I'm gonna build Perforos, and like Perforos has been the one that I've been on for so long. And even now with Theros, I'm like, wow, I could see this deck being one of my like most played ever. But the point is, like, yeah, so when I go somewhere, I don't want the choice of having to pick between 9 decks. I'd rather just bring 3 decks, and that can easily just fit into my backpack, and then the decks are pretty easy to grab out. I don't think I'll ever invest in the toolbox. Maybe I would for at-home organization, but I don't think I would take it with me.
So here's like my next question. Like, I think that does a really good job illustrating like you're the kind of player who wants like like one or two or three like decks that like you have interest in, like you're constantly changing those 3 decks or so. So you don't need a giant like carrying case. Like, do you think like, oh, you'll invest in like 3 really nice individual deck boxes then?
I just use the Ultra Pro Satin Tower boxes. Just consistency, they all look the same and looks nice when I organize them on my shelf. And, you know, I know which one's which by the color. So I see blue, I'm like, Jace. There's black, oh, that's Skithrix. Gitrog's this purple. I don't think that I need anything else other than these deck boxes. They're $10. They hold your deck and then some, like, I'll put like all the extra cards that I'm not using for that deck behind it. So like possible cards that I considered once, or possible cards I'm like going back and forth between. So if like the other night, Perforos didn't do so well because I just kept drawing lands. So I was like, maybe I could take out like 1 or 2 lands and the deck will run fine. So I did that, and I was just able to pick out, okay, so these 2 cards I took out because I thought maybe, you know, they didn't quite fit, but they were the ones that were really hardest for me to take out. So now that I have a slot, maybe I could put these guys in.
All right. Sounds good. And I will like say before we shift over to the next topic, if you are planning to buy like this toolbox thing, go to Home Depot. It is like $17. If you try to buy it off Amazon, they have it like ridiculously priced at like $35. Do not do that. If you are able to, just drive to Home Depot and get it yourself. It'll probably be worth the gas money.
Yeah, that is a nice. Yes. Very good point. That's probably like the only... This will probably be one of the only times we do like a product review, just because.
Yeah, that's pretty much. That's it.
Yeah, I can't really see us talking about anything else unless if we get a sponsor saying like, oh, can you please talk about our sleeves? And I don't know.
Is it beer proof? Is it like wine proof? Then that's our test.
Oh my god, can you imagine sticking a card into a like pint of beer to like see whether or not it like gets damaged?
That's gonna be our test.
Okay, well, we're gonna move on to the other part of this kind of like hodgepodge improv. No questions so far. I did tweet it out, but yeah, I went to the Theros Beyond Death pre-release just a couple of days ago, and let me tell you, but I definitely suck at this game. I definitely didn't get like any stupidly good pulls. So like we sit down and I get my box, and Hector, my friend who has been on the podcast, he was with me. He grabbed the box that was after me. So we sit down. Not only did like I just like get almost nothing I wanted, but he's just sitting right next to me. He pulls first Shatter the Sky as his pre-release card. So I was like, damn, I really wanted that. Not for this like event right now, but just in general. He pulls 3 mythics, I think. He pulled the Euro Titan of Nature's Wrath in foil. Polychronus. Yeah. There's a couple other things that he pulled. He pulled Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, he had some stupid good pulls. And
yeah,
I'm just kind of sitting there with like my stuff, and I'm like,
envy.
Damn. My deck was not great, and the first game I played was blue-white control. And after playing my first round, I realized this deck has like no way to win, like at all. Like it has a good amount of creatures, but like I just got like stomped on.
You know, blue-white isn't really known for their like controlling creatures much.
Yeah, and I had no like game-ending cards, I guess. I instead was like, all right, we'll throw some red stuff in there. So I made the deck a red, white, and blue deck. And it did a lot better, but it was definitely still, I don't know. I go off the ratio of 22 cards and then 18 lands. That's kind of what I've been told. That was maybe a little too much for me, I think, because I ended up drawing a bunch of lands and I was like, shit. So lost round 1, round 2, get to round 3, and I'm up against a 10-year-old, and I'm like, man, this reminds me back of when I played in the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. And this one child, so here's, I guess, a story that I haven't told, but there was, back freshman year, I went to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and I'm sitting there, I'm filling out my forms, and there's this kid next to me who's filling out his forms, and I'm like, hey, you're too young, and I think you need a parent's signature, so if you want, I'll sign that for you, take you up and say, like, you're my brother or something. And the kid just looks at me and he's like, he didn't say, like, fuck off, but, like, he pretty much said something to, like, that extent of what a 10-year-old would. Walks off. 3 games later, I'm sitting there, I've, like, lost everything. And he comes up, and he's my opponent, and I'm like, shit. And he just tramples me, like curb stomp, and I'm like, man, I don't deserve this. And then that's when I decided to get really into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for a short bit.
And then, like, 3 years later, you finally got your revenge.
No, yeah, so then, it wasn't even 3 years later, it was like 7 months later, I'm at another Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. I'm with one of my friends, Ethan, who's been on the podcast, but I'm like, man, wouldn't it be great if that kid were here now? And I'm looking around, and I see him, and he's grown like a full foot, and I'm like, I'm coming after you. So I go up to him casually, and I'm just like, hey, I mean, if you want to play some games while we're waiting, come by our desk. And he's like, okay. He comes by, and after I destroy him, I'm like, I'm the guy that you, like, you know, made fun of, like, 7 months ago.
The plot twist, the epic plot twist.
Yeah, and I think I have told this story before, because Ethan.
You have, but it was one of the first episodes we ever did. So
yeah, well, Ethan, like, brought up something. He referenced some movie that I've never heard of. When I'd have to go back and listen. He's like, I don't even know.
It's like Old Boy or something.
Old Boy, yeah, Old Boy. I old boyed him or something. I don't know. Okay.
So aren't we winners? We need, like, self-confidence by defeating children in children's card games. We're such
very
winners,
much
guys.
so. Oh, the other thing about the pre-release that, like, really, like, so I got, like, shit pulls, and then so Hector's getting all the good pulls.
You're just a bad player.
And Hector's getting all the good pulls, and then 2 seats down from us is another 10-year-old boy. Not the same 10-year-old boy I lost to, but he gets a normal Perforos, and then he pulls the Constellation Perforos in foil, which is like $100 card. And before we left, like, Hector and I, neither of us won anything, and Hector literally gives me all his cards because he's like, I'm retiring.
Yeah. That sounds like him.
We go up to the boy and we're like, we'll give you all these cards for the Constellation Foil Perforos. And he just looks at us and says, no. And I'm like, okay. And we walk away. But I don't know, how many cards are there in a pack? 15. So, yeah, 90, 180... 270. I got 270 new cards. 7 of them are worthy of maybe going into decks.
Wow. 7 out of 200. Over 200.
Yeah, got a lot of bulk.
That's why I don't do pre-releases unless I'm with friends.
That was my story.
And wasn't, like, your one goal to, like, win at least one game?
That's an admirable goal. Because when I did the Modern Horizons one, I actually did really well. I think I went, like, 2-1, and my last game was, like, I won 1, he won 1, and then it was literally down to the last match.
So you almost went 3-0.
I almost went 3-0, but yeah, so it just kind of depends. Like, I guess my goal for Theros was just be able to get all the cards that I wanted. Didn't quite make it. Almost. That's my story. Thanks.
It's a good story.
Well, we have not gotten any questions in the short time that I just posted that. So, Blake, do you have anything else?
Not too surprised. Usually springing things on people last minute
No,
doesn't work.
that is a very good point.
I'm about to just drink like straight liqueur ready for this next episode.
Yeah, all right. Well, this is, the most improv episode that we've done before.
You can tell.
Yeah, it's probably one of the shorter episodes that we've done before too, coming off of one of our longest episodes ever, so...
I think that's part of it. Like, we're just so burnt out from that, like, almost 3-hour, like, review. we learned a lot from that review.
Well, we got one more episode to do, and then we're not taking a break of putting stuff out, but we're taking a break recording, so we just have stuff stockpiled at the moment. All right, well, we'll end it here. This is a good amount of time.
Yeah. And just know, if you ever want to see Guy at a pre-release, you probably have a good chance of beating him, so...
Thank you very much for listening. We hope you have a great night. You can find us at The Wizard Staff on YouTube, The Wizard Staff 101 on Twitter. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and you can email us at thewizardstaff101@gmail.com. Find us on iTunes, Spotify. Leave us a like, comment, and subscribe. So we'll see you next time. Peace.